You know, it's been over 45 years now. I still remember the shock of the whole thing. I was stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. This was a Minuteman base. We had Minuteman I missiles, about 150 of them, Minuteman. We had capsules strewn all over the state. And this happened about 45 years ago, this year actually. My job was to monitor the missiles, make sure they were up and ready to go, but also to launch missiles if given the order. We didn't think about that too much. It was just our job, but thinking back on it now, we had the capability of pushing that button that would have basically destroyed our planet. I was sitting in the capsule on alert status, what we call an alert status. It was a quiet morning, and I get first a call from the topside guard that they're seeing strange lights in the sky. The lights were making very odd maneuvers. They weren't airplanes, they were very quiet. And then I didn't pay much attention to that, and basically hung up the phone on the guy. And then next thing I know, the guard calls back, and he's screaming into the phone, and he's very frightened. He's saying that there's a glowing red object hovering above the front gate. Wanted me to tell him what to do. I was in kind of a shock because I thought we could have been under a terrorist attack of some sort. I told him to make sure nothing comes in the front gate. We hung up, went to tell my commander about it. There were two of us in the capsule on the ground. And then the missiles shut down one by one. We lost all 10. I looked around the capsule like, what's going on? What's going on up there? Because the guys were exposed. They were obviously frightened. They had their weapons drawn. I had no idea what was going on up there. We could not open the door. We had a huge blast door, we called it, that protected the capsule from a nuclear blast. And we couldn't open that because we were required not to for 24 hours until we were relieved. So it's not like I could have gone up there and checked things out. We weren't allowed to do that. Obviously, we had control of nuclear weapons. And we found out that night that this had happened a week earlier. At another site, again, 10 missiles shut down. UFOs were seen by many Air Force personnel. And so within the span of a week, we lost 20 missiles to these objects, whatever they were. Now, it's important to note that the guards upstairs, or any of the personnel upstairs, had no control over these weapons. They had no access, and they could not have orchestrated some kind of a hoax from upstairs. We had all the equipment downstairs. We weren't trained to disable the missiles. We had all the equipment downstairs, all the computers and things like that. If we had tried to do something like that, it would have been obvious to the inspectors that came by later to inspect all the equipment. So no, we didn't touch any of that. In fact, we didn't even lose power. We didn't even lose electrical power. This was strictly guidance and control system failure. In other words, the guidance system wasn't operating properly because it was disabled. I went public in 1994 only because I had read a small bit in a book called Above Top Secret by Timothy Good, where he talks about missiles being shut down at a nuclear site. And I thought my story had been declassified because I was told it was classified, not to ever talk about it. We got a disclosure from the Air Force after writing to them a couple of times. And as a result of that, I got other witnesses to come forward, important witnesses, such as my commander, Fred Mywald, the commander and deputy commander at the Echo flight. So we got the two crews at the two missile sites that went down, and they're all telling the same story about UFOs involved in the missile shutdowns. I got testimonies from inspectors, people that did the investigations on the shutdowns. I got testimonies from other witnesses. So I believe I've got a lot of testimony and evidence that supports my case beyond a reasonable doubt. Absolutely. Right after my incident, the first thing we had to do when we got back to base was go to my base commander's office. They had a signed document saying we would never talk about this to anyone. So it was a cover-up right away. In addition, we were never briefed on any of the ongoing investigations as to what might have caused this. I have uncovered evidence from the Condon Committee investigation to show that the Condon Committee knew about the UFOs shutting down our missiles and failed to investigate it, failed to include it in their report. The Condon Committee, of course, was the committee that investigated UFOs for the Air Force, starting in 1966 to 69. I love being in the Air Force. I love being a part of that. I was a career officer. I have no axe to grind with the men and women of the Air Force. They're doing a wonderful job for us, protecting us on a daily basis. My complaint is with the policies set by the high levels within the Air Force, the policy that says keep this secret from the public. And that's what I vehemently disagree with. I don't think they have a right to lie to the public about this reality. Why our government or our intelligence agencies insist on covering this up? There are probably many reasons, justifications that they use. One is they think the public might panic. I think probably the most salient reason is that since they can't control the situation, they can't control these objects and what they do. If they announce to the world that, yeah, we are being visited, but we can't do anything about it, and we can't control them, then what do we got? You know, we have a government that's incapable of protecting the citizens, right? They would have to admit that at least. Bottom line is, I think we will have disclosure eventually. That is, I think the government will have to fess up because of the bulk of evidence, the validity of this will be too overwhelming for them to deny. Of course, this is speculative, but the objects, whatever they are, and I believe they were extraterrestrial. I have my reasons for believing that, but I think what they were trying to do is just simply send us a message. And the message had to do with our nuclear weapons, obviously. They shut them down. The message was, shut them down, get rid of them, stop using these weapons that could destroy the planet and every living thing on Earth. Life is precious. We would have seen an invasion by now, I think, if it was going to happen. At least the kind of invasion that you see in the movies, or where they're taking over. And I don't think that's happening. However, they are here, and they are here for a reason. And they are basically telling us that it's up to us. We have to solve this. We have to figure out a way to get to the next level, whatever that next level is. What's happening here is not about UFOs or extraterrestrials so much as it's about us and how we react to the knowledge that there are other living beings in other places outside this planet that are in fact visiting us. The human public needs to engage this. We can't have this as something to laugh about, something just to dismiss as a joke. It's serious, it's true, it's real. We humans are not guaranteed survival. In order to survive, we're going to have to cooperate with each other. We're going to have to stop killing each other. We're going to have to stop thinking that we have to have nuclear weapons in order to protect ourselves. The one constant we know about our future is that things are going to change. And I think disclosure will dictate how we are going to change. We will have to accommodate this fantastical idea that we have been visited by beings from other planets, and we'll have to accommodate that change. We as a species will change, and indeed, we have to change. I think there is hope for us. I really do. I think we will change for the better, but I think disclosure will help.